Hey guys, Drama Daily here. Like and subscribe for more. Sean Diddy Combs, the once untouchable hip-hop kingpin whose name was synonymous with lavish excess and billion-dollar success, stood rigidly as the jury foreperson began to speak too. Words echoed, sealing a stunning downfall. Guilty, guilty. But the next pronouncement delivered a seismic shockwave, not guilty. In a verdict that sends shockwaves through the music industry and legal circles alike, Combs has been convicted of serious federal crimes related to prostitution while walking free on the explosive racketeering charge that threatened to bury him for decades. This is the dramatic, complex conclusion to a trial that peeled back the dark underbelly of fame, power, and alleged criminal enterprise. Buckle up, the saga of Diddy's reckoning is far from over, but a crucial, damning chapter has just been written after weeks of harrowing testimony and intense legal arguments. A New York jury delivered a split verdict in the high-stakes federal trial of Sean Diddy Combs. The 55-year-old mogul, who pleaded not guilty and vehemently denied all allegations, was convicted on 2 counts of transportation of an individual for prostitution. These charges specifically relate to his ex-girlfriend, singer Cassie Ventura, real name Cassandra Ventura, and another woman identified in court documents only as Jane Doe. However, the jury delivered a significant, albeit partial, victory for the defense by acquitting Combs on the most serious charge, racketeering conspiracy under the RICO Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. He was also found not guilty on 2 accompanying counts of sex trafficking, specifically concerning Miss Ventura and Jane Doe. This acquittal on the racketeering charge, which carried the potential for decades in prison, is a critical outcome that fundamentally alters the sentencing landscape and will be hailed as a major win by his legal team. The 2 guilty verdicts stem from the federal statute known as the Mann Act, originally the White Slave Traffic Act. Enacted in 1910, this law prohibits transporting individuals across state lines for any immoral purpose, including prostitution or illegal sexual activity. Crucially, it does not require proving the transported person was forced or coerced into trafficking. The act of transportation for the purpose of engaging in paid sex acts is the crime, prosecutors argued, and the jury agreed for 2 counts that Combs transported Cassie Ventura and Jane Doe to locations including hotels in different states for the purpose of engaging in commercial sex acts. Central to this were testimonies describing events dubbed freak-offs or hotel nights. Both women testified that Combs arranged and paid for male escorts to have sex with them while he watched, directed, and sometimes recorded the encounters. The prosecution painted these events as coercive, alleging the women felt pressured or obligated due to Combs' power, control, and the dynamics of their relationships. Evidence seized from Combs' Los Angeles mansion during a raid, including large quantities of drugs and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, was presented as supplies intended for these encounters. Combs' lawyers, led by Mark Agnifilo, argued the relationships were consensual and that any sexual activities were private matters between adults. They attempted to frame the Mann Act charges as an overreach, even invoking the law's problematic history of being used against interracial relationships in an unsuccessful motion to dismiss. They contended that the women willingly participated. The acquittal on the racketeering conspiracy RICO charge is the trial's most significant legal twist. This charge was the cornerstone of the prosecution's attempt to portray Combs as the head of a criminal organization. The high bar of RICO, to convict, prosecutors needed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Combs operated a long-running criminal enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity. This required showing he conspired with others like employees to commit at least 2 distinct predicate crimes like sex trafficking, kidnapping, drugging, obstruction of justice over a significant period. It's a complex charge historically used against organized crime syndicates. The jury's doubt, the defense successfully sowed seeds of reasonable doubt. Agnifilo aggressively challenged the notion of an enterprise, repeatedly asking witnesses, including Cassie Ventura, if Combs' employees were present or knowingly involved in the freak-offs. Ventura testified she didn't think they were Agnafilo's dramatic courtroom challenge. Are you kidding me? Did any witness get on that witness stand and say, yes, I was part of a racketeering enterprise? Highlighted the lack of direct testimony linking employees to the core alleged criminal acts as co-conspirators. Expert analysis. Legal experts, like former federal prosecutor Robert Mintz, noted the RICO charge was always the most difficult to prove. It's a very complicated charge, used typically in the past in organized crime prosecution, Mintz stated, adding it was unsurprising this charge gave the jury the most trouble. The prosecution couldn't definitively bridge the gap between Combs' alleged personal actions and the existence of a structured criminal organization run through his business entities. The fallout: jail, sentencing, and the road ahead. Combs faces serious prison time despite the RICO acquittal. Immediate incarceration. Combs has been held without bail at the notoriously harsh Metropolitan Detention Center (MDC) in Brooklyn, New York, since his arrest on September 16, 2024. His lawyer's desperate plea for release on $1 million bail immediately after the verdict was denied by Judge R. Subramanian. The judge cited Combs as a serious flight risk and stated, "It is clear that the defendant does pose a danger," echoing prosecutor Maureen Comey's arguments. Sentencing date and potential term. Judge Subramanian proposed October 3, 2024, as the sentencing date, though the defense requested an expedited schedule. A hearing is set for July 8 to finalize dates. Combs will receive credit for 10 months already served at MDC. The conviction. Each count of transportation for prostitution carries a maximum sentence of 10 years in federal prison. Prosecution stance. Prosecutor Comey has declared she will push for the maximum consecutive sentence of 20 years. Reality check. While the maximum is 20 years, federal sentencing guidelines and judicial discretion mean the actual sentence could be significantly lower. However, given the nature of the convictions, the prosecution's stance, and the judge's view of Combs as a danger and flight risk, a substantial prison term is highly likely. The final decision rests solely with Judge Subramanian. Jail conditions. Combs' continued detention at MDC Brooklyn is a significant hardship. His lawyers previously described the jail as horrific, citing severe overcrowding, understaffing, and a culture of violence. His denied bail requests underscore the court's view of his risk. While this criminal trial focused on specific federal charges related to 2 victims, it exists against the backdrop of a deluge of civil lawsuits accusing Combs of sexual assault, rape, and other misconduct. Scale of allegations. Attorney Tony Busby, representing multiple plaintiffs, stated over 100 individuals have either sued Combs or intend to do so. These lawsuits span decades, with allegations dating back to 1991. Among the most serious is a lawsuit filed in December 2023 by a Jane Doe alleging Combs and others gang raped her in 2003 when she was 17 after plying her with drugs and alcohol. Numerous other women and men have come forward with similar accounts of assault and coercion. The current legal maelstrom began in November 2023 when Cassie Ventura filed a bombshell lawsuit detailing years of alleged physical abuse, rape, and sex trafficking by Combs during their on- and off relationship, while settled privately within. A day with Combs denying guilt, it opened the floodgates. A leaked 2016 hotel security video showing Combs violently attacking and kicking Ventura, which surfaced in 2024, severely damaged his public image and led to a public apology from Combs. "I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now." Combs' stance. Combs' legal team has consistently dismissed the civil lawsuits as clear attempts to garner publicity and maintains his innocence regarding all allegations. The criminal verdicts, however, lend significant credibility to his accusers in the court of public opinion and potentially strengthen the civil cases. The verdict marks a staggering fall from grace for Sean Combs, a figure who shaped hip-hop culture and built a vast business empire. Emerging in the 1990s as Puff Daddy, he founded Bad Boy Records, launching icons like the Notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, Faith Evans, and shaping the careers of many others. His entrepreneurial ventures, particularly the lucrative deal with Diageo for Croc Vodka, cemented his status as a billionaire mogul. Even in 2023, he released new music, the Love album. Off the Grid earned a Grammy nomination and was named a global icon at the MTV Awards. The trial exposed a starkly different narrative, one of alleged manipulation, exploitation, and violence behind the glittering facade, fueled by testimonies describing parties devolving into freak-offs and a culture where Combs allegedly thought of himself as a king. The jury has spoken. Sean Diddy Combs is a convicted felon, found guilty of using his power and resources to transport women for illegal sexual acts. While escaping the existential threat of a RICO conviction, he now faces the very real prospect of spending years behind bars in a prison notorious for its harsh conditions. But is it enough? Let me know in the comments.
What do we owe this man as an individual human being? And the place that I get off is using our history and our peoplehood to paper over his humanity and all its flaws. That is where my bus stops, and that is where I get off. I can't do that.